Boards don't buy confidence. They buy comprehension. Most executives believe authority comes from presence, strong delivery, polished language, certainty. That belief collapses in the boardrooms. Because boards are not evaluating how you speak. They're evaluating whether you understand the decision well enough to own the risk. Not defend it when things go right, but own it when things go wrong. Hi, I'm Jayson Hahn. I spent 18 years as global CIO, managing technology budgets exceeding $150 million across multiple industries, and I've sat on both sides of the table, both presenting the numbers as an officer of the company and later challenging them as a boardroom advisor. Today, I work with executive teams and boards who are tired of approving the spend that is technically sound, but financially indefensible. And this briefing explains how the real authority is earned after charisma stops working. Here's the mistake executives keep repeating. They assume boards reward confidence, and boards do not. They reward clarity under pressure. Confidence signals comfort. Boards are not testing comfort. They're testing comprehension. One question drives every reaction in the room. Do you understand this decision well enough to own the downside? Not defend it, own it. Because here's what happens next. The board asks you a question you did not prepare for. Not because they want to be difficult, but because they thought of an angle you missed. And at that moment, confident executives break. Because the confidence was built on preparation, not understanding. Clear executives adapt because clarity is built on logic, not script. And the difference between those two responses determines whether the board sees you as prepared or principled. And let me show you how this fails in practice. I'll give you an example. Mark was the CFO of a billion-dollar manufacturing company, 4,600 employees, $47 million IT budget. He presented a $22 million ERP transformation. He was confident, prepared, fluent. The board response was not emotional. They just said, "We're not convinced." So Mark assumed that the persuasion just failed. But what actually failed was the clarity in the project. And here's the exact moment it broke. One of the board members, chair of the audit committee, they asked, "What happens if this adoption fails?" Mark had prepared for this. He said, "We have a strong change management plan." And the room went silent. Because strong change management is not an answer. It's a category without content. Here's the real answer Mark should have given. If we fall below 27% adoption, we miss our financial close target. We carry 17 months of dual system cost, and we miss the revenue recognition window. And here is how we prevent that. That answer owns the risk. The first one just acknowledges that it exists. And this is how Mark rebuilt his authority. He started with business decisions, not systems. Boards don't approve systems. They approve decisions. Mark originally said, "We're implementing a new ERP system to consolidate financial and operational data." What did the board hear? We're spending $22 million on IT. So here's the corrected framing. This investment enables 3 decisions we can't make today. 1, real-time inventory visibility across 14 plants, preventing $8.4 million in annual stockout losses. 2, financial close in under 5 days, down from 18, accelerating capital decisions. And 3, Automated compliance, removing $2.1 million in recurring audit costs. Now the board knows what it's buying. Not a system, a set of decisions. Second, he showed his work. Boards don't distrust outcomes, they distrust unexplained uncertainty. When Mark said this is the best option, the board asked one question. Compared to what? And authority collapsed because the logic was invisible, not because the answer was wrong. Okay? And this is an important point to make, because I've been through this many times when people ask the question, compared to what? And I've asked the question, compared to what? And a lot of the times you will get, well, we decided upon this system because it's the gold standard. It is the one that sits in the magic quadrant. But is it the one that we need for our business? Are we spending too much money on a solution that might be able to do 100 things when we only need 2? And are there other systems that still do those 2, but only do 50 things, but cost a third of the price? And here's the corrected version. 3 options were evaluated. Option 1, do nothing. Cost is 0. Outcome, stock out losses continue at $8.4 million annually. Financial close remains at 18 days. And then option 2, we can upgrade the legacy system. Cost will be about $4.2 million. Outcome, modest improvements. Financial close moves to 12 days. Option 3, a modern cloud ERP system at a cost of $22 million. The outcome, real-time visibility, 5-day close, automated compliance. Return on investment is achieved in year 2. Risk is carried in year 1. Now the board sees the reasoning. Confidence returns because the logic is visible. Third, he defined success metrics before approval. Nothing, and I mean nothing, erodes trust faster than undefined success with the board. Mark originally defined success as adoption and system performance. That's an activity. That's tracking. It's not success. And here's the corrected definition. 30 days into launch, adoption exceeds 85%. 90 days, financial closes under 5 days. 12 months, measurable financial impact reaches $10.5 million. Now the board knows how this decision will be judged, and Mark owns those targets. And he got there because we helped him rebuild the entire board update into one slide. 3 sections only. That's it. The top section, decisions enabled. What choices become possible that are not possible now? What is it going to do for us, in other words? The middle section, what options were evaluated? What alternatives were considered and why were they rejected? And the bottom section, financial movement and success metrics, cost, timing, risk, and how we measure this work. Because here's the test that matters. Okay? If your proposal cannot fit onto one slide, you don't understand it well enough yet. This is not a formatting constraint. This is a thinking constraint. Boards do not need your confidence. They need your clarity. Confidence follows clarity, not the other way around. So I suggest you try using this framework before your next meeting. Start with decisions, not systems. Show your work, not your certainty. And define success before you ask for approval. 1 slide, 3 sections, logic visible. The board will feel what changed. They will not hear confidence. They will see comprehension. And this is the work I do with boards and executive teams. So, this briefing also concludes the first phase of the IT ROI and boardroom clarity briefings on this channel. And it begins my presenting a new briefing every Thursday at 9 a.m. Now, going forward, I'm going to be pivoting between IT ROI and explaining current technology trends using the language of executive leadership. No technical jargon. So you are better equipped to understand what's being proposed. And so you have the information to challenge your IT leadership, to challenge other leadership before any capital is approved. So in the next briefing, I'm going to be talking to you about AI, but not in the way you expect. This is not a technical discussion. It's a conversation for executive leaders about what AI actually is and what it is not, and why those two things are being blurred on purpose. I'll cover how AI is being framed in boardrooms, how it's being sold in slide decks, and the specific questions you should be asking before any AI initiative is approved. Because I'll tell you this, when I talk with executives about this, most are very surprised by what falls under the label AI today, and even more surprised by what doesn't. If you own the decision, the risk, or the explanation, this next briefing will be for you, and you'll find it very, very interesting. I hope you enjoyed this initial series on IT ROI. Please leave a comment if there's anything specific you would like for me to cover in future briefings. Please subscribe. Thank you.